Hello guys and welcome to Python programming tutorials by Amul's Academy. Today in this tutorial we are discussing about a pattern program, that is we want to print stars in this pattern. We already discussed about this pattern in this video series, but in that we used for loop to write the program. So today in this tutorial we'll see how to write the program using while loop to get output like this. Okay, so let's begin with the program. Okay, so in the Python file, first we'll ask the user to enter the input. So here we took one variable called num. It is because we want to store user entered input. That's why here we took this variable. If you want, you can change the variable name. Next, here we can see we use this input function to get input from the user. And this is the message, that is enter the number of rows. It will display on the output screen. And in Python, this input function will by default take input as the string value. But here we want integer value because here we want number of rows. So that's why here I use int function to convert that string input to integer input. Alright. Next, here I'll take one variable called row and I'll initialize this variable with 0. So this is nothing but in our output, the row will start from 0 index. The first row of our output will be the 0th row. Okay. So here we can see this is our first row, right? So it will start from 0. Okay. And here I took my variable name as row. If you want, you can change the name. Next, here we will take while loop, this while loop for rows, and here I need to mention the condition. So this condition will tell us how many times this while loop will execute. Okay, so I'll write my condition like this: row is less than num. It's nothing but when the value of row will be less than num, that is the entered input, that time I want to execute this while loop. So here the condition is when row is less than num, and here initially we took row value as 0. So if you enter the input as 4, so num value will be 4. So it will check 0 less than 4. Yes, it is true. So it will print star in this first row. Okay. Next we'll increment the row value. So it will become 1. So it will check 1 less than 4. Yes, it is true. So it will print this star. Next 2. So it will check 2 less than 4. Yes, it is true. So it will print star here. 3. 3 less than 4. Yes, it is true. So it will print star here. Next row value become 4. It will check 4 less than 4. No, it is not. So it won't print this row. Okay. So that's why here we took condition row less than num. Okay. When this condition is true, it will execute this while loop body. Okay. So in the output, we can see we want to print star as well as we want to print space. Here we can see in some places we want to print space. In some places we want to print star. So I need two while loop. One is to print space and another one is to print star. Okay. So first I'll take the while loop for space. So here this is the row 0, 1, 2 and 3. This is the output when num value is equal to 4. Okay. So now here we can see at the first row we want 3 space. Before this star we want 3 space. Next in the row 1 we want 2 space. In the row 2 we want 1 space. At row 3 we want 0 space. Okay. So at row 0 we want 3 space. At row 1 we want 2 space. At row 2 we want 1 space, and row 3 we want 0 space. Okay, so we'll get this value when num value is 4. Okay. So to print space in each row we need to write a general formula. So we can write like this: num minus row minus 1. Okay. So we'll take the first case, that is row 0. Okay. Num value is 4, row value is 0 minus 1, so we'll get 3. So when row is equal to 0, we'll get 3 space. Okay, next we'll see when row is equal to 1. So num value is 4, row value is 1 minus 1. So 4 minus 1 is 3, 3 minus 1 is 2. So we'll get 2 space. Next, when row value is 2, here row value should be 2. So 4 minus 2 is 2, 2 minus 1 is 1. So we'll get output 1, that is 1 space. Okay, when row is 3, so here row value is 3, 4 minus 3 is 1, 1 minus 1 is 0. So we'll get 0 space. Okay, so this is the general formula to get space in each row. Okay, it will tell how many space we want in each row. Okay, so next in my program, what I'll do is, here I'll take one variable called space, and here I'll write num minus row minus 1. Okay, so this will tell us how many space we want in each row. This is the formula. Next, here I'll take while loop. To print space, we need while loop. So here I'll check when space is greater than 0, I want to print space. Okay, so print end is space. Okay, so here we use while loop because in row 0, first we want to print space here, next print space here, next we want to print space here. So here we can see the iteration, right? For this we are using while loop. Okay, so next I'll write space is equal to space minus 1. That is, so suppose if you enter num value as 4, initially row value will be 0. Okay, so it will check this while loop. So this condition become true, so it will go to this while body and it will check space is equal to num minus row minus 1. Num value is 4, row value is 0 minus 1. So 4 minus 0 minus 1, so it will become 3. Okay, so here in the while loop it will check 3 is greater than 0. Yes, it is true, so it will print space. So here we can see I use end is equal to space here, that's why it will keep the control in the same line. So control will remains in the same line. Okay, next here we can see we decremented the space value. So previously space value was 3. Now after this space is equal to space minus 1, this value becomes 2. Okay, 3 minus 1, that is 2. Again while loop will execute 2 greater than 0. Yes, it is true. So it will print space, next space, and again control go to this space is equal to space minus 1. So here now space value become 1. Okay, again it will go to the while loop. 1 is greater than 0. Yes, it is true. So again it will print space. Okay, here we got 3 space at the 0th row. Next, again control go to the space is equal to space minus 1. So here 1 minus 1, so that is 0. So space value becomes 0. So again control goes to the while loop and it will check space is greater than 0. That is 0 is greater than 0. No, it is not. So it will come out of the loop. Okay, in this way we'll get these 3 space. Okay, when num value is 4. All right, so here we wrote the condition for space. Okay, this is the condition for space. Next we need to write the condition for star. So to print star, so to print star, first I'll take my variable name as star and I'll write row plus 1. Okay, this is the formula to check how many star we want in each row. That is nothing but, so here we can see when row is equal to 0 we want 1 star, when row is equal to 1 we want 2 star, when row is equal to 2 we want 3 star, when row is equal to 3 we want 4 star, right? So when row is equal to 0 I want 1 star, when row is equal to 1 I want 2 star, right? So here we can write like this: 0 plus 1, this as 1 plus 1, this as 2 plus 1, this as 3 plus 1. So here 0 is nothing but row, here 1 is nothing but row. Here 2 is nothing but row and 3 is nothing but row, right? So in general we can write we need row plus 1 stars. Okay, so generally we can write like this, that is row plus 1 star. At the 0th row we can see 0 plus 1, we want 1 star. Yes, it is true, right? Okay, that's why here I took star is equal to row plus 1. This is the formula to print star in each row. Next, to print star in each row I'll use while loop here, and here also I'll write when star is greater than 0 I want to print star. Okay, and next here I'll write end is equal to space. Okay, here in the print function by default end value will be /n. Okay, so after printing star it will go to the next line, but here we don't want that. Here after printing star I want control to be in the same line, that's why here we use this end. Here also same. Okay, and here I'll write end is equal to space because in the output, here in the output we can see after printing this star we want one space, right? Between these two stars we can see a space, between these two stars we can see a space, here also, right? So that's why here I'll mention end is equal to space. Okay, so next I'll write star is equal to star minus 1. So here I'm decrementing the star value by 1. So this is the code to print star. Okay, here, so when row is equal to 0, okay, so here star will become row plus 1, that is nothing but 0 plus 1, so star value become 1. So it will execute while loop. Next, here star value is 1, so 1 is greater than 0. Yes, it is true, so it will print this while body, so it will print star. Okay, after that end is equal to space, so it will leave one space and control is here now. Okay, next here we can see star is equal to star minus 1. So previously star value was 1, now star value will become 1 minus 1, so 0. Okay, again control go to this while loop and it will check 0 is greater than 0. No, it is not, right? So it will come out of this loop. So here we can see we got 1 star when row is equal to 0. So that is nothing but, here we can see at row 0 we want 1 star. Okay, so we got 1 star there. At row 1 we'll get 2 star. Okay, in same way it will execute this loop. So here this is to print space and here this is to print star. Okay, so next I'll come out of this while loop and I'll increment row value by 1. So I'll write row is equal to row plus 1. So this is nothing but initially row value is 0. So this while loop will execute for 0. Next we want to go to the next row, right? After printing row 0 we want to go to the row 1. Next we want to go to row 2. We want to go to row 3. We want to increment row value. That's why here we wrote this condition. So each time row value will be incremented by 1. Next here I'll write print function. This is for new line. That's nothing but after printing stars in each row we want new line. So here we can see after printing one row we want to go to the next line to print remaining star or space in the next row. Okay, so that's why here we use this print function. This is for new line. Okay, so we are done with our code, so we need to save this and run this. So here we can see a message is displayed on the output screen. Enter the number of rows. I'll enter 6 and here we can see the output. Okay, here we wrote our program in the Python 3, and if you are using Python 2, then if you run this code you may get some error because there is a difference between Python 3 and Python 2. So if you are using Python 2, then you should write code like this. Okay, so here we can see first we are taking the input and here we are not converting this input to integer because in Python 2 that is not needed. And here we can see the print. Syntax of print is different. Here we can't use end. To get the same output we need to use comma here, and in the Python 2 this comma is equal to Python 3's end is equal to space. Okay, these both are equal. In Python 2 if you use comma at the end of the statement, that is equal to the this in Python 3. Okay, so this is the code. This is the print for new line. Here print is just a statement, not a function. So I need to save this and run this. So here I'll enter the number of rows as 4, and here we can see the output. Okay, so this is about the pattern program using while loop. So that's it for now. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. I'll meet you in next class. Till then, take care.